We're so far in, and we got to cover this, but like, just straight up, they're talking about banning grief finally. We've been saying it for months, and I'm going to play this video really quickly and just, you know, this is the Magic historian.
You can put it on the wall.
What's that?
This is him and his go ahead. Let's see where it is.
It's causing the biggest problems in Legacy right now and absolutely should have already eaten a ban, but hasn't. So if you're somehow not aware of grief, I'll put it up on the screen for you real quick to take a look at, because you need to understand the card. This is, look at the casting cost. The casting cost is irrelevant. The whole thing about this card is the fact that you can play it for free with its evoke cost without spending any mana. All you have to do is remove a card from your hand to put this guy out, right?
Wait a second, now, Nick. I don't know Magic the Gathering, but isn't this what you said? Isn't this what you complained about months ago?
There's only one part where I disagree with him. Yeah, only one part. But I've been complaining about this card, and I say it every time I play this card.
It's literally been a complaint every single time Magic has come up. Why hasn't this card been banned? Why haven't players figured it out and complained about? And like, the proof is in the pudding here. Here's us 3 months ago talking about it.
No views.
Boom. Yeah. Nobody's listening to us. That's why. Talking about grief.
Literally, man, it's been like 2 years, and I've said this card is cracked, and it's only cracked because it makes poor playstyles. Like it makes an unfun experience whenever it exists. It doesn't even have to win you the game. It just makes an experience fucking feel like shit. Okay? And you can pay $40 to go into a big name tournament, and then without your opponent even winning the game, you feel terrible.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good for anything. Legacy tournaments are now getting canceled because people are finally saying, I don't want to play against grief. And, you know, people are thinking that Wizards is just trying to kill Legacy because they keep saying it's a dead format, but every single like huge event we have is like 1,000+ players to play some cardboard for Legacy.
Right.
So
yeah, here's articles. Now everyone like suddenly we need an emergency ban. They're not doing this. They're talking Nadu. They're talking grief, and they're trying to see when the next ban window is. Again, things we've been sounding the alarm on for a while. And then just kind of to drive your point in, here's some. You sent me this link earlier, and like this as part of the narrative of it. It's pretty wild. This shows the percentage of played in Legacy, the metagame for the last, and right now we're showing the last 30 days. Here's Reanimator, right?
Look to your right. Just look all the way to the right. These are recent decks for today. This is 7/9/2024 Legacy League. People pay like $20 to enter in these leagues, okay? This is not for people who are not trying to like, look.
Reanimator, like, black, yeah.
Reanimator, Oops All Spells all have grief in them. Like, Oops All Spells got better because of Modern Horizons. Like, I could go into it, but it doesn't really matter for the sake of argument. Scroll down a little bit more.
Well, no, hold on a second. I wanted to show the point here. We're showing Reanimator 2 as a 37% being played in the meta here. In the last 30 days, we kick it to the last 2 weeks when they had the ban 2 weeks ago. It's a 46% in the last 2 weeks. And then we go the last 7 days, it's 50% of the decks being played. I think that hits it home. That's a problem. Why is everybody choosing this? Are they going to find something that magically counters this? Or are they finally just going all in on grief because they know how broken it is? And it seems to be the latter. I don't know much about Magic. You're our Magic expert here. But the conversations we have, it's tilting me too, dude. This is wild that this is playing out this way.
Like... Yeah, it's a little wild. So like lands, just for like clarification, like lands is pretty expensive. The odds of you deciding to play lands in Legacy revolves around you having like $10,000 worth of cards, right? So like that deck is pretty out of the ordinary. To say that it's 3.6% of the meta, that's pretty high for this deck for how expensive it is.
That's a counter to grief.
It's a really good deck. Like those two decks, the Selesnya Depths and the Lands decks, like they don't operate the same, but they're a different play style than what all the other decks kind of do. Gotcha. For the most part. Oops All Spells is a weird one. And just to give an example of this one, it plays no lands. Like factually it plays lands, but they're the backside of card. You can choose to play the backside of card, but because of the way this deck works, it plays no lands in its deck and is 6.2% of the meta. And hey, it runs Grief. And it got better because it added more black cards, blah, blah, blah. Like it got a nice black non-land land. But again, like we see Grief right here in the front, 51.6, right? Yeah. There is I can't even express to you. There's like, I've been having this argument for 2 years with friends, with local people at game stores, at big tournaments, and every single I swear to God, man, every single time people are like, no, it's not busted, it's not broken. I'm like, let me just play you real quick. Let me just do a regular hand. And they're like, well, sure, if you get the nuts. I'm like, that's not the fucking nuts. It's 3 cards. Like,
right? They think
you jackass. Like
they think you have the magic pull, like you got the god pull, but you're just getting the average pull, basically.
Like slightly under average pull, you don't have a reanimate. So like, there is no scenario where your opponent doesn't lose 2 cards. Okay, like I'm not even joking. Like a nuts hand for a person who's not playing the scam deck is Forest Pass. That's a nuts hand for the person who's not playing to beat the Grief deck, to like really like stop Grief. Mm-hmm. And you go and you literally, it just becomes Veil of Summer. I can't be targeted by things, basically. So Grief just doesn't work, right? But this deck runs counter spells that are free, right? And so like it literally can still take 2 cards from your hand no matter how you fucking interact with this card. I've been saying it for 2 years. You lose 2 cards regardless of how you interact with it. It doesn't matter. And the only thing that I disagree with a lot of the people who are saying ban Grief now is they think Force of Will is a good card. You're all fucking wrong. It's a bad card that stops something good. Like, that's point,
we're just getting into the cycle that we've already talked about. This was literally the video and discussion we had 3 months ago, and that other clip that I just showed. It's probably the thing that Magic Historian's talking about. I want to see more happening faster, but you know, it's only a time will tell thing, and like it's really not. And speaking of time, I think we're kind of pushing it as far as how long we're going. We've been talking a lot. I think we spent too much time on Overwatch, but anyway, anything to finally just add here, because we had one last topic, but I don't think we're going to get to it here. So like any sort of bow you want to put on Magic before we like just send out to the outro?
Talk to the person who's the legacy expert in the place and go with the bans that he says you need to ban, or just fire him because you're not going to follow his fucking advice anyway. It's real painful when even the legacy guys like Grief needs to be banned and Wizards of the Coast said no. Why'd they say no? They don't have a reason really. Like they said, we're going to wait. That's like, so you shouldn't even pay him if you're not going to listen to him. They either
don't have a reason or they have a reason that they don't want to share. Because it's pretty obvious.
I think that because... Go ahead.
So I was going to say, it's pretty obvious when 50% of people are playing that deck in the last week. That's a big jump. That's a big problem.
Here's the fun part that you don't even know about, right? As soon as they ban Grief, if you go back to the decks real quick, I'll show you. Let me see if I can find
for you real quick to take.
All right, sorry, I'm trying to bring it back up.
No, that's fine. It's the Cellophid Breakfast deck. Ugh, just got the Oogie Boogies, right? It's the 4th deck.
Yeah,
that's there. You see it? All right. There's going to be different versions of this deck, but for the most part, it plays a card called Nadu, which is in that article.
Yeah.
For Modern that they talk about banning. That's going to be the 52% of all decks are going to be Nadu decks. Like, just so we're clear, Wizards doesn't know what the fuck they're doing at the moment. Like, at all.
Well, like, sounds these like they cards need to hire pushed. You. They need to hire you to be coordinating this at least. Because
they're never going to.
I know.
They'll never fix this problem. So.
All right.
But.
It's kind of that's the bow on the end of it. It's kind of a sealed deal. You know, we need Grief out of there. It's going to move into Cellophid Breakfast because of Nadu. And then it's just going to move on to the next thing. But, you know, I think that's kind of it's kind of then how we're going to leave it overall. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Let's wait another month.
Yeah, and make this video again.
Month. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Like, there might even be an emergency ban. You never know. So
yeah, or going into the local gaming stores, they're gonna just do it individually there. But that's something we talked about last week. But anyway, we've got a lot more to talk about, but we don't really have the time to talk about it. We didn't get to talk about Apex Legends. There's an article and some information. Some gentlemen did some great data research showing how aim assist and the rankings perform versus mouse and keyboard, controller versus mouse and keyboard, and guess what? It's a problem. We didn't really get time to talk about it in this one. We're really excited to, and if you are excited to, make sure you hit that follow button, that subscribe button, because we'll be talking about it next week. We'll be talking about it at a later date and time. Or if you just enjoyed what you saw here, if you like hanging out with us, you like some of the opinions, you thought we actually had bad opinions, tell us what you think. Leave a comment, hit like, hit dislike it. Lets the algorithm know, and lets us know what we're doing right. But anyway, that's it for I'm sweaty, it's hot, my tongue is tied, it's been a lot. But anyway, let me just do this outro. That's been all of it for here on the Esports Meta. I still couldn't get through that one. That's been it here for the Esports Meta. Thank you for joining us. You can catch us here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can catch us on social media if that's more your vibe. The TikToks, the Instagrams, all that jazz. You know, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Nick. We had a lot. We sweating it out like sweaty gamers here. Make sure you go drink some waters, drink some coffee, stay rested, because we're going to need to recharge for next week, especially those topics.
Yeah, seriously. I am excited about the Apex thing. And that's like, it kind of hints on the other topic that we talked about with Hitbox a while ago. So it should be a really good episode.
Exactly. Definitely going to be a good one. I know I'm going to see you there, and we're going to have our guns ready to start shooting. But that's it for this episode of the Esports Meta. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.